For those of you that got the factoring down, this will be an extension video for you to watch. These will be the 5.0 questions on your quiz, which is Thursday, tomorrow. So before we get into the 5.0, I want to talk about x squared minus b squared. Anytime you have what we call that is a difference of perfect squares, the way it factors is it's going to be x plus b, x minus b. So in this case, you have x squared minus, this is a perfect square. These are all perfect squares. 2 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared, 7 squared, 10 squared. So you want to figure out what am I squaring, and then you'll factor it as x plus 2, x minus 2, because you got a perfect square and a perfect square. One of the mistakes students will make on this is sometimes they'll write x plus 4, x minus 4. Well, that's not the case. These two numbers need to multiply to be -4, and then you add to be 0. So anytime, once again, this is a perfect square, this would be x plus 4, x minus 4. This is a perfect squared, x squared. 25 is perfect square, x plus 5, x minus 5. X plus 7, x minus 7, because that's 7 squared. This is 10 squared, so x plus 10, x minus 10. All right, so those are special factoring. Now, what makes a 5.0 is you're probably going to take out a common factor before you do any more factoring. So I have 3 examples which are in your worksheet. You want to make sure to do these as you go, and then you'll have a list of 10 homework problems to do after that. So if you look at number 1, okay, you have to take out this negative sign first. We always want to factor with a being 1. So I take out a negative and I'll get x squared. Make sure you take a negative out of each thing. So if I take a negative out of each term, because once again I'd have to distribute this negative each term, so it would be minus 19x plus 48. Once I do that, now it's just like yesterday. What multiplies to be 48 and adds to be negative 19. So I know they multiply, so they're the same sign. And since they had to be negative, they're both negatives. So if I go through my list, 1, negative, that's not going to add to be negative 19. Negative 2, negative 24, not going to work. Let's see, negative 3 and what is that, 16. There we go. So make sure, a lot of people once again know, oh, these are the numbers, and they're right, x minus 3, x minus 16, but they forget, you better include this negative right here. Okay. So that's one special factor. All right, the next one to look at is now, if you notice, what is a common factor that both of these have? This is where you have just the first in the middle, you don't have that constant, but they both have x's. So if I ask you to factor something like this, you want to be like, okay, what's the common factor of all of these things? Okay, well, they both have an x. So I can take an x out, and what I'll be left with is 5x minus 3. That's it, you're done. You factored it. You got this times this. Okay, all right. And there's other times when you'll have a constant that you can take out of them. All 3 terms maybe. Sometimes this is 2 terms. So in this case, we take out a 3 from both of these, and what I'm left with is x squared minus 9. This is, hey, x squared minus b squared. This is a perfect square, perfect square. So this is x squared minus 3 squared. So I can factor that further and say, well, this is going to be x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay. So those are what the 5.0s look like. So you'll see the worksheet below. Do those problems, look at your answers on the answer key, make sure you can do the 5.0s for tomorrow's quiz.